Hello, my dear students. Good morning, all of you. We are continuing with the lesson that is evolution. Before going to the today's topic, let me revise what we have learned in the previous class. In the previous class, we have understood about the evolution. Right? You know about the evolution. Then also we understood the theories of evolution, and from which we have came to know that how the life originated on earth, how life evolved on earth. And this life, various life forms has formed the various diversity in the nature, that is biodiversity. Now, in the chemical evolution, just few topics, few things I just want to tell you again. Here, some conclusion you have to write. Okay, so conclusion also you should include along with that chemical experiment. The most accepted theory was the chemical evolution of life, which has proved that life evolved from the non-living materials. From in the reducing atmosphere, all the complex form of life has started to evolve from these non-living materials. So the life, according to this theory, life evolved around how many years back? It was the first non-cellular forms of life started to appear around 3 billion years ago. First, non-cellular forms of life started to appear on Earth by 3 billion years ago. Then, what about the cellular forms of life? The cellular forms of life started to appear from, that is, around 2000 million years ago. Then, first form of life has started to appear in water itself. Then, and along with that, it was proved that first form of life arose slowly through the evolutionary process from the non-living molecules. So, these inorganic molecules like amino acids and all, they formed the complex organic molecules like RNA, DNA and all. This has underwent with the replication, and from this the first form of life has originated. Okay, this is this supports that the first form of life evolved on earth from non-living materials. So from this we understood that how life evolved on earth. Now what is the proof? Right, we need the proof for that, right? So there are some evidences are there which supports this biological evolution. Before that, we'll understand about the scientist who has played an important role in the theory of evolution and theory of mechanism for explaining the mechanism of evolution. That was Charles Darwin. So in the previous explanations what is given by other scientists and all, they believed more on the that is supernatural power has created this earth. So those had actually they had some belief that it is what is the diversity today, it is as such created. Okay, so whatever the life is there now, it is created as such, and it is not there is no changes have been occurred. There is no evolution, has no changes are occurred from the generation to generation. Then also they stated that our earth is around 4,000 years old. So all these connotations, you remembering what is the connotations I said in the last class, all these connotations has been disproved by Charles Darwin. And how he proved it, he has underwent with the observation. So he went for a sea voyage in a ship called as HMS Beagle. In that for 5 years he was observing collected some of the natural history of the earth. From this he understood that the earth is not created as such. There are lot of changes as occur from generation to generation. Okay, so he proved it as, he called it a biological evolution. We call it as a biological evolution. I'll come to that point next. So he supported that here on earth life is not created as such, and there are lot of changes has occurred. There was complex organisms have evolved from the simpler form of life, and he understood that natural selection is the mechanism by which this evolution has happened. So what is it natural selection means? So natural selection means the organism which can survive better in an environment. For example, how much it can cope with the changing climate, with the changing environment. Those characteristics will be selected by the nature and they will be survive more in the environment. So here shortly it is called as fit test of the survival of the fittest. Okay, so survival of the fittest, according to this fitness, according to Darwin, this fitness also means that it is a reproductive fitness. The species which are able to survive more, and those with good characteristics will be selected by nature, and that will be more seen in the nature. So those will be having more chances to survive. So that is what the natural selection according to Charles Darwin. So he understood that most superior advantageous characters will be selected by the nature. So in this way, natural selection preserves the species with the superior character. So natural selection altogether it means that it selects the superior characteristics. That characteristics will be survived more and those will be passed on to the next generation. So along with this, one more scientist who worked along with the Charles Darwin is that Alfred Wallace. So he also supported the idea of Charles Darwin, and he also understood that existing life forms share similarities and also have a common ancestry who were present at different periods of the history. Now we will understand now what are those evidences. Okay, so now today's topic, in today's session, I'll be teaching you about the evidences of evolution. Okay, so what are the evidences for evolutions? See, science means it is about the truth, right? Science is about fact. So we can't trust anything without the proof or without the evidence. So how the life evolved on earth, we understood from many theories. Okay, now let us move on to study what are the evidences to support this evolution of life forms and what are those changes occurred in this during these different periods of time. So now let us under evidences for evolution. So evidences for, we'll take it as a biological evolution. So what is this biological evolution? Biological evolution means changes in the characteristics of organism from generation to generation. So that is the biological evolution. So biological evolution means the gradual changes in the characteristics of a species. Gradual changes in the characteristics of species from generation to generation. Okay, so gradual changes in the characteristics of species from generation to generation or over several generations. Okay, so that is called as biological evolution. So here, let us understand now what are the evidences. Okay, the evidences to support that life forms have origin from the earth, and it has came from many regions. Many supporting evidences were collected from many parts of earth, supporting that life evolved on earth. So evidences to support the evolution life form has taken place on earth has come from many quarters, and now also it concludes that evolution has happened and it still continues to happen. Still there are changes are occurring, there are a lot of variations are occurring in the nature, lot of variation we can see in the different species. So we can support that. We can also say that evolution is a continuous process. Still the evolution is continuous because changes are happening here and then every time. So we will understand now evidences for biological evolution. See, now, what are the evidences? Evidences to support the evolution. What are those? First one we'll understand, it is paleontological evidences. Paleontological evidences. Then second one is, it is morphological and anatomical evidences, or you can also say it is comparative anatomy. Morphological and anatomical evidences. Then third one is a biochemical evidences. Then next one is, what is the next evidences is biogeographical evidences. Biogeographical evidences. So these are the 4 evidences to support that the evolution has occurred on Earth. And first one is the paleontological evidences. Paleontology means study of fossils. Okay, so from these evidences, by the help of fossils, we'll understand how fossil gives an evidence, and it will also help us to understand different life forms existed in the different geological period. So fossils, about that we'll discuss now. Then morphological and anatomical evidences, which bring some of the comparative anatomy between the structures of various organisms. In this, we'll understand about the homologous organs and analogous organs in plants as well as in animals. Then what are the evidences? Biochemical evidences. Then also we'll understand biogeographical evidences. So these are the evidences for organic or biological evidence, for biological evolution. Then now let us understand about the fossils. Fossils, you know what is a fossil? I told in the last class, it is a dead remains of plants and animals found on sedimentary rocks. They are the dead remains. Okay, what are the dead remains or the impressions of the plants and animals or various life forms? Once they dies, these impressions will remain on the rocks. So those layers of sedimentary rocks will give and proof to the life which was existed in the different geological period. Now, what is fossil? I said fossil is a dead remains of various life forms found in sedimentary rocks. Then these sedimentary rocks, there are layers of sedimentary rocks, reveals that various life forms have existed during the various geological period. For example, now some of them, one more thing is that it shows that if we take the CS of earth crust, we can see the distribution of these rock sediments. We can see the layers of rocks will be arranged in the different layers of the earth. So those sediments will give and prove that if we analyze those sedimentary rocks and their fossil study, if we do, we'll analyze that in different age or different periods, various life forms have appeared. This will agree, and because of this fossil study only we are able to collect lot of information, what was the organisms which were existing on the primitive earth and all. We have studied lot of things with the help of these fossils. So different age rock sediments contain fossils of different life forms who probably died during the formation of that particular sediments, and some of them also appear similar to the present organisms, and some of them have extinct. For example, dinosaurs. In your textbook, you can see in the page number 130, you can see a diagram showing the family tree of the, it shows the family tree of the dinosaurs. Okay, so you can see many types of dinosaurs were there. So, and as well as their modern day counterpart organisms like crocodiles and birds. Okay, you can see in this page, Okay, so in this page you can see there is a family tree of dinosaurs and their modern day counterparts like crocodiles and birds. So you can see what were the dinosaurs which were existing in the early period, which got extinct later. That is Stegosaurus, Brachiosaurus. Then you can see there is also highly gregarious, like the dangerous Tyrannosaurus was also evolved, and as well as Triceratops also evolved from these dinosaurs. And this gives an also idea that the modern day reptiles as well as birds has evolved from these dinosaurs. Okay, now this fossil study also given a clue for the missing link. So it has also given a clue what was missing in it. For example, there was a species name you can see. Yeah, it is Archaeopteryx. Okay, that is, what is that Archaeopteryx? See, Archaeopteryx is a missing link between birds and reptiles. We know that birds have evolved from the reptiles. So between that reptiles and birds, there was another species was also found. So that link was missing in the earlier period of study, but later by the fossil study, they could able to study that fossil, and with the help of this paleontological study, they could understand that Archaeopteryx is a connecting link between bird and reptile. It is a connecting link between bird and reptile. So that is what the Archaeopteryx means. So this fossil study has a lot of significance. So what are the significance of these paleontological studies? It gives a direct evidence for the evolution, right? So those dinosaurs, how they were, all those information we could able to collect because of this fossil study. So it's a source of direct evidence for the study of evolution. Then also it gives information of the extinct organisms which was existing before. Then also this fossil study has also helped us to analyze the missing link. It's also helped to analyze and study the missing link. For example, Archaeopteryx. So Archaeopteryx is a connecting link between reptiles and birds. As well as you can also study some of the giant reptiles of Jurassic period of Mesozoic era. In that you can see the large sized was the first. You can see that at the below in that picture you can see Brachiosaurus, what was one of the giant dinosaur which was existing during the Mesozoic era. So this is, and then let us understand how can you calculate the age of fossil. It is, what is the method? It is carbon 14 dating, or it is also can be called as radio, right? It is the age of fossil can be calculated by carbon 14 dating, or it is radioactive dating. Another method is, it's another name for that. So here in this, the principle behind is that they'll use the rate of decay by comparing the available material with the decaying material, with the active radioactive material with the decaying material. A comparison is made, and then that age of that fossil is calculated. So name the method by which age of fossil is calculated. It is carbon 14 dating or radioactive dating. So this gives a some of the products, okay, some of the products which were there, or the life forms which were existed in the primitive earth, and about their time, or about their era in which they were existing. Okay, so this is about the paleontological study. Let us move on to the next evidence. It is, what is the next evidence? It is morphological and anatomical evidences. So morphological and anatomical evidences means which gives an comparative anatomy between the animals which were present and this gives a comparative anatomy, that is internal features of the various animals, their structures can be analyzed. Okay, so comparative anatomy means comparative internal anatomy we are doing. So comparative anatomy, or you can also call it as morphological or one is anatomical evidences. Okay, these morphological and anatomical evidences are of two types. Okay, so morphological or anatomical evidences. They are of two types. These morphological and anatomical evidences are two types are there: homologous structures or homologous organs, and another type is analogous organs or analogous structures. So let us know about the homologous organs or homologous structures found in the different types of animals. In the textbook, you can see another picture showing about the different example for homologous organs in plants and animals. Here in the chart, you can see the homologous organs present in the plants. So let us understand now what is a homologous organs. First, let us understand the definition of homologous organs. The homologous organs definition is that the organs, okay, see these two terms important, just mark it as important, this topic. Okay, morphological and anatomical evidence is important, as well as you have to study for the practical also. So now itself thoroughly study that. Okay, easy, just you need to compare and study. So better you compare and study this and find out the difference between that. So there is no chance of confusion or any overlapping between the concepts. The structures which are different in appearance, homologous organs means the structures which are different in appearance. Then structures which are different in appearance. Then structures which are different in appearance and also perform different functions and perform different functions. The structures which are different in appearance and perform different functions but have similar basic structure and origin. But have similar basic structure, and then origin. Also their origin also developmental origin are called as homologous organs. So homologous organs means the structures which are different in appearance and perform different functions and have similar basic structure and developmental origin. This is what the homologous organs means. See, these homologous organs, they appears different. Okay, they appear to be different. Okay, then as well as structural appearance means structural appearance is different, as well as their function also different, but the origin is same. Okay, and they developed as a result of which evolution? They developed as a result of divergent evolution. So they developed as a result of divergent evolution. They developed as a result of divergent evolution. See, another definition used to come, that question used to come from, one is what are homologous organs, then second one is the divergent evolution. Likewise in analogous organs and convergent evolution. So they developed as a result of divergent evolution. You know about the divergent ray and convergent ray. So basically we can think that actually the origin is same. These structures, their origin is same. They are from the same home, but they went in different directions for performing different functions. So structurally they looks different. For you can also give a similar. You can also give an example with that. We can compare with our family members. See, family members, many family members will be dispersed. They may be settled in different areas of a place. They'll be settled in different places. For example, some of our relatives will be there in the northern Karnataka, or some of the relatives maybe will be there in the foreign countries and all. So this why they got diverged. Okay, they diverged because their origin is same. They are from our same origin, but their origin and our origin is same. But for the different purpose, they went for the different areas and they perform the different functions there. Work, for example, in our case, it is they working in a different sectors. Likewise, you remember this homologous organs means they are from the same home. That means origin is same. The structure is different, appearance is different. Then they developed as a result of divergent evolution. That means from the same home they have diverged to the different directions according to their various adaptations and to the different environment. Now examples, let us take the examples for the homologous organs in animals and plants. Examples in animals, we can say, take the example of forelimbs of vertebrates. Okay, so example is forelimbs of vertebrates. Example for homologous organs. Okay, so forelimbs of vertebrates. We have to take the example in animals as well as plants, because plant structure and animal structure cannot be brought together. So forelimbs in vertebrates. Now look at that diagram, what is given in the textbook. You can see the forelimbs of man, forelimbs of cheetah, forelimbs of bat, then what else is given? Forelimbs of whale. And so this shows that these all have appearance, they may look different, function is different, but they are built on the same pentadactyl plan. Okay, now for example, if you take the forelimbs of man, for example, for us, our hand, forelimb means hand in our case. So this forearm is made up of, here it is what are those structures are there? Humerus, radius, ulna, carpals, metacarpals and phalanges. You have studied in the last year in the skeletal system. So the same basic pattern can be observed in the other animals. Okay, but functions, what are the function of a cheetah, forelimb of a cheetah? It is used for running. For bat, and then also for bat, it looks like it appearance is looks like it gives a support, but it actually used for the flying. And also you can see the forelimbs of what is that? Whale. Whale, what is the forelimbs of whale is used for? It's used for swimming. So here functions are different, structure also different, but their origin is same. Anatomically, they are made up of similar structures. They are made up of bone. They are made bones with the bones. They are made up of, what are those structures? You can see it is, yeah, but they can see that is upper arm, humerus, forearm, radius, ulna, carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. Now, in the example of Seal, you can see appearance, it looks like a flipper. Bird, looks like a wing. For bat, that appears to be support. Horse, it looks to be elongated. Man, it looks like a appearance like thumb opposite to the fingers. Now function of